Hey there everyone, Jason back again, and sorry this video took a little bit longer to get to than most of the other ones that I do, but I was working on how to play video here while I was talking to you. But anyway, basically I'm just back to do like a sort of final review of the NES Classic. So I've played with it for a little while now. I've had a good amount of time. Like I picked one up the day that it came out. Unfortunately I didn't get one like early, as it seems that so many other people did, but I basically played through all of the games and tried everything that I could possibly do with it, like all its little settings and everything. So I just want to give you some of my final thoughts. Sorry for rambling there. In the corner here, you'll actually be watching the video that I took of me playing through all of the games. It might be a little bit sped up here and there just so that it can like sort of fit in. It might not show everything, but basically just watch that if you want an idea of what I was doing. Basically, I played through, in one sitting, every single game that I possibly could, either till I died, or until I beat a level, or something like that, just to sort of test it out. And I'll say this, first and foremost, the games work very well, they look great, everything sounds really good, and the controls are solid. There definitely was a lot of love put into this device, as far as like what it can do and like what it's there for. And the fact that it only costs $60 is quite an amazing thing. I will say that overall, like design-wise, like from the packaging to the actual unit to the controller, the look and feel of everything was top-notch. I mean, the box, which I believe is up in the corner behind me, it was great. I mean, it looked like the old Nintendo box, and then even just the fact that it looked like an exact replica of the original NES, and the controller, even the buttons, like feeling just the way that they should. And I compared them. Excuse me, recording. I compared them to the original one, and I swear to God, even my 20-year-old controller felt just the same as that brand new controller that the NES Classic has. So that side, like design and presentation, top notch. I mean, that's definitely like a 5 stars or 2 thumbs up or 10 out of 10. Definitely great on that one. Where it fails as far as its design goes, and because it's not completely perfect, the controller cord definitely could be a lot longer. It's like 3 feet or so. It's caused me to have like a unique setup for the system, where typically systems for me are plugged into the TV, and I play with, you know, even a controller with an extension all the way to the couch. And then, but this one, I have to, basically it lives underneath my couch. And then I have this 20-foot HDMI cable that I take from my TV to the couch to plug it in and play it. And I'm okay with that, because if you're using the NES Classic controller and not just a regular classic controller like the what the Wii has, then you don't have any easy way of resetting the console and getting back to the game that you want to play, or getting to the save point or anything like that. So that's definitely a plus there. I don't mind it so much, especially because I play it with it all the way back by the couch, by me. I haven't had a chance to get a hold of one of the extension cables for the classic controllers, and I will eventually. I don't know if I'll actually do anything about it here. Even if I did, it'd be like a couple minutes long anyway. I mean, there's nothing more that I can really say about it after I've finished with this video. The other thing about it is just the fact that it is so small that you can't use an NES cartridge with the game. And then there's just the fact that it's preloaded with the 30 games, and there's no potential for it to be upgraded. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been teardowns of this system, and they've looked at the internals of it, and they've proven that it actually has like quite a large deal of space on it. And just the fact that it has a micro USB port on the back, there's just that little glimmer of hope that maybe there's an update for it eventually, that you can plug it into your computer, even if you have to pay something for the download, and then download more games onto it with like an updated firmware or something like that. That would be interesting. But that's like one of those like out there hopes and dreams. So that thing that's another. So two main gripes about the actual design of the system is just controller length, and then potential for upgrading or expanding the console's game library. So what leads me to believe then is that if they do anything else like this to make more games, it'll be another console, which will be incredibly hard to find. So that leads me on to my next point, where finding the system becomes a thing. So I waited in line at the store close to me at a GameStop that I knew was going to have 12, and so I went there at 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't go anywhere else. I didn't try anywhere else. I was the first person in line. I tried to help people by telling them that there was only 12, but people still lightened up. I work at that store. They didn't hold me one. I didn't get any like special privileges or anything, because like typically I can get something set aside for myself, but in this particular case, because of the nature of it, it was first come first serve, and I had to wait in line. I think that my store has gotten 2 more, and it's been like what? It's the 28th of November right now, and those things came out on the 11th, and so we've gotten the first shipment of 12. And then a second shipment of 2. I think bigger retailers are maybe getting a few more than that. And Nintendo has promised that they're going to help deliver these over the course of the holiday season, but I don't see it as being like a huge shipment yet. No one's going to see the numbers that they saw before. And how long is Nintendo going to actually keep these up is completely up in the air. I don't think it's going to be very long. Because it was supposed to be a collector's edition. I think it was supposed to be something that was for the people that wanted the retro fun. It was for the people that wanted to collect like those older games, or people just that wanted to have like that little bit of nostalgia. I have no idea what my cats are doing right now, but it's annoying the hell out of me. Anyway, moving on. I'll put that out of my head. Basically, it's Nintendo was forcing some hype on this one, and then just by not having enough in the stores, either they don't want to be like left with a whole bunch of backstock in case it doesn't sell, or they're doing something that seems a little bit shady. And even for me, like I'm a diehard Nintendo fan, but even I see it as just a little bit of they should have known a little bit better. And partly it's because they didn't let anybody know how many they were going to get, so stores couldn't do pre-orders or anything like that. Because if I would have pre-ordered this, the hassle would have been like completely out there. It's like we would have known like way ahead of time like how many we were going to get, and Nintendo would have been able to tell, oh wow, we're already like sort of pre-selling this many, maybe we can find a way to make more. But that's the biggest thing. I think it was poor planning, poor marketing, and yeah, I feel bad for the stores that sell these, because especially like the week of its release, and I promise I've worked during that week, it's just phone call after phone call, like, where do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? And even a couple weeks down the line, I'm still getting, not so many phone calls, but I'm still getting calls saying, it's like, hey, do you have this? People are coming into the store and asking, do you have this? And I have to tell them, no. And when they ask, well, when are you going to get more? I have to be even more like, I don't know. So it's not what I would consider fair or good. But let's move past that. So we've talked about design. We've talked about like how it was actually done as far as like marketing and shipping. But let's just talk about the games themselves. I'm pretty happy with them for the most part. Not all of them are games that I would actually want to play. But the fact that they cost $60, I'm pretty much okay with. I think out of all of 30 titles, I think about 10 to 15 of them are games that I would play consistently, and about 5 to 8 of them are games that I would actually want to go through. So that's okay. I mean, $60 is pretty good, considering the fact that most new releases these days are about $60. And these games are games that have been around forever that you can't necessarily pick up like the way that they are. There's Virtual Console, which has some of them. There's, other emulators which you can get them, but now you actually have a chance to play them like on the closest to like the original Nintendo that you can get. Now, granted, I think I actually own about like 12 of the titles. I think so. Because personally, I own the entire Mario series. I have both of the Zelda games. I've got Castlevania 2. I've got Balloon Fight. I believe I have the original Kirby. I have, oh god, what else do I have? I have Radius Galaga. Yeah, I've got a pretty good handful of them. But I just like the fact that it's a lot easier to play, because even though I have a Nintendo plugged into my TV, it's much more reliable. Plus, there's the fact that it plays in, 720, and it's 60 frames a second, everything like that. So it's nice. I mean, the presentation is great. Each of the games sounds amazing. It looks fantastic. I literally have no complaints. Like, they did nothing wrong with this. It was it was nigh on perfect, and that's okay. Like, that's sort of what I was looking for. I mean, game choice aside, everything aside, the system itself was perfect. I mean, from a collector standpoint, because that's basically what I am. I'm definitely a collector. I wouldn't consider myself like any sort of game aficionado. I'm not like a game expert in the sense of the history of the system and the games themselves, but I collect these things. Like, this is my hobby. This is what I do, and I make it so that I have these so that I can play them in the future or just share them with other people. I mean, usually stuff like this, it's something that I would have out and be like, hey, friend or person that I have over at my house. It's like, have you seen this? It's like, let's try this out. And then it's like, all of a sudden we're playing like two-player Mario Brothers, and that's okay. I mean, it's a couple hours of fun, and that's basically what it is. If I had to give it a final verdict, I mean, it definitely would end up at being like an 8 out of 10. Where the points detracted from it would be purely for lack of availability for people that actually really do want it. And then just the controller design and lack of upgradability. Aside from that, if you actually can pick one up, and please don't pay anything more than like $80 to $100 for this thing, because I know that it's going to be basically on eBay for a lot of people. So just don't pay too much for this thing. It's not worth that. If you're paying upwards of $100, you're better off buying an original Nintendo, an extra controller, and some games. Just get the games that you want. There's stores out there that actually do sell this, and there's stores online that actually sell them, and they're not that expensive. The games that are super rare, yes, those are expensive. And then getting a system that's in good condition, that's also a little bit tricky too. I mean, there's other ways around that. There's other consoles that allow you to play NES cartridges with basically brand new hardware. That's another option too. But if you're paying upwards of $100, those options are actually more viable to you. So please, don't waste your money on this thing. $60 is great. $80 is $100 is you're pushing it. Anything more than that, I mean, you should have known better. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you like this. Sorry again for this coming out so late, but again, I wanted to be able to show you exactly like what I was seeing when I was playing it. But yeah, I'll post some links up here on the screen using the nice fancy end cards to other videos in my library. I've got plenty out there. If you like the content that I do, please give me a thumbs up. Also, help me out by subscribing. I'm definitely trying to build something here, and if you like and subscribe, then it certainly lets me know that I'm on the right path. And then don't forget, comment down below. Let me know, did you actually get one of these? How do you like it? What's your overall thoughts? I mean, do you agree with some of the things that I said here? I mean, is there something that I said that you don't agree with? I mean, do you have a complaint about the system that I maybe didn't mention? I'd like to know. But yeah, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.